Mm. Hey y'all, welcome to the Devon A. Morris Unfiltered Call-In Show. Have a seat. Let's get ready. You have any questions? Come on, call in. Come on to that Discord channel. Do me a favor, get the unfiltered crew some finger snaps. We're ready to get started here. Mondays, 8 p.m. Every single Monday, we're here. I'm excited about it. Are you? Let's get this show started, y'all. The greatest Scrum show on earth. I'll see y'all soon. Enjoy. Hello, everyone. Welcome. We're here again, people. See me got on my, hold up, no, wrong side. See that? Got my Scrum Lions shirt on. Done. Last time I went to a conference. Anyway, I'm not going to a conference this year. But anyway, my name is Devon Morris. You are on the Unfiltered Call-In Show. So this is a place where you can get your Scrum, Agile, entrepreneurship questions answered. We can even just talk about life in general, the stars, the sun, the moon, and the stars, if you like to, right? That's a Prince song. But that being said, welcome to the show. It's April, man. I mean, it's like we're getting toward the middle of April. It's kind of interesting, right? I mean, it's like, wow. All right, so just so you all know, the way the show operates is really very simple. I'm going to say hi to Patrick as usual. Hi, my friend. Salute to you. Anyone that's out there, LinkedIn, YouTube, just say hi. Just say hi in the chat. Welcome. Today we got an interesting topic. We're going to talk about paying it forward. That's what we're going to talk about, paying it forward. I'll talk to you about some of the things that we've done. I'm not bragging here or anything like that. Just want to talk to you about some of the things that we've done. And then maybe bring some people around to see what other people do in this community to kind of pay it forward. Excuse me there. So, that being said, what's going on with me for the week, or at least in the near future? I got a half-day CSM coming up next week, half-day CSPO coming up next week. After that, half-day ACSM, half-day ACSPO. So, got those things coming up. After that, CSP. So, just a lot of different things coming up. So, if you don't know what I mean, Certified Scrum Master, Certified Scrum Product Owner, advanced versions of that, and then Certified Scrum Practitioner or Professional. So that's what I have going on over the next few weeks. Other than that, a lot of family stuff. You know, I'll be traveling a bit to make sure I go do a few things with the kiddos to make sure that they're, you know, kind of getting closer and closer to complete independence away from my pockets. So that's what I'm looking forward to as well. Let's see, what else do we got going on in terms of public stuff out there for BE? That's really it. Probably on a personal note, y'all, if you don't know anything about this, I'm a comic book guy. I don't have any comic books around me. I just bought a whole lot of comic books recently. Like I bought a lot of comic books, like 5,000. So I'm gonna have to do something with those 5,000 at some point. So just know those things are coming up. So that's the only thing that I really have going on is I need to look through that collection to see what I got and what I don't got, and then I can go from there. So what we doing this show, which isn't complicated. I got a guest that will come on after I have a small conversation with you about what's going on. And usually we'll go for about 5 to 10 minutes on that topic. And today we'll talk about paying it forward. And then we'll start welcoming any questions that you may have whatsoever. Again, there's no dumb questions here. People that's brand new to Scrum, been around Scrum for a while. Understand that you can put your comments in the chat, but if you want to get priority, you come and join the line, right? You come and join the line. You come and join us on the actual on the call-in, where you just come and join with us on the video feed. And that's, if you want to really talk, we can have an exchange there, okay? It's probably the easiest way to do it. Callers have priority over everyone else, as we always say. So, on that note, let's talk about paying it forward a little bit so we're good to go, and then I'll bring in a guest and we can talk about that a little bit more. Um, Bearded Eagle many years ago started out from paying it forward. I mean, so we could talk about all the things of why the company was started, but forget the founders of the company. One of the things that we would do in the very beginning of Bearded Eagle, so we're talking about 2011, 2012, is we would do classes and coaching for people and organizations that we thought we could help move forward for free or virtually free. To the point where, we would take money out of our pockets and go rent a hotel room. Literally go, not a hotel, but just a conference space in a hotel room. And then we'd invite as many people as we can to a free seminar about Scrum. And we didn't ask for anything in return. It was just our way of just trying to give back. And since that time, going back to when Bearded Eagle was initially formed, we would always, every few months, every year, do something where we're giving back, right? Where we're giving back. And giving back is really, really important because some of you all may know I'm a part of a fraternity. It's a service fraternity. So, we always find ways to give back. So, for example, this weekend I was doing some work for a single mother with the Qs and Habitat for Humanity, and we went out and painted her house, right? But in terms of the business world, you don't always see that. So let's just talk about recently what happened, right? So you all know about 2020. 2020 was a interesting year, right? It had a lot of, ups and downs, and just a lot of things happened. A lot of people just received a lot of shocks, just deep, deep down in their soul or the essence of who they are, right? We had the pandemic happen. We had 3 murders happen of, black folks, right? By the hands of the police, 2 of them, right? And then, Ahmaud Arbery, where he just walking in the neighborhood or jogging in the neighborhood. So we've seen these things happen. And so what happened in 2018, 2020, we did something unprecedented, okay? We actually did a Certified Scrum Master and a Certified Scrum Product Owner class that was free for black folk, okay? And the thing is that the reason why I'm wearing this shirt right here, you see this Scrum Alliance shirt right here, got it at a conference, right? You see right there, Scrum Alliance, right? I'm kind of advertising, but the idea is that the Scrum Alliance allowed us, or was a part of partnering with us, for us to actually provide certifications for free, as a way of giving back to an underrepresented community. And that community was focused on, African Americans, but at the end of the day, there was Africans, there was Hispanics, there was a few people in there that were classically underrepresented, right? And so we did that twice we did that 1 class each in 2020. And people got some value out of it, no question. They really, really did. Some people got some nice jobs out of it, and some people did nothing with it, absolutely nothing with it, right? But our objective was to give back and to pay it forward, because we have been so fortunate to be in this space and to be able to do great things in this space and be able to pass that on to other people. We probably had, between the 2 classes, I say 150, maybe 175 people come through the classes, right? So it was a really significant number of people, and we had to manage, the workload of that class, because we literally did, like, for example, that CSM, it was one big class, 75, 100 people in that class, right? And a lot of times it turned into being, a lot of questions about finding jobs and stuff like that. So it turned into more than just the CSM. The CSPO was the same thing, but again, a CSM, CSPO is always slightly different in terms of the audience. But the idea is that people were able to come and get pretty much a $1,200 certification for free, right? And I know of people that took that and turned it into something. Took that and turned it into a 5-6 figure salary, right? Now we didn't go help people get jobs or anything like that. You know, we didn't do all that stuff on the back end of it, but we were able to help. And then after that, going into 2021, what we decided to do, because we realized that probably half the people that was in the class wasn't going to do anything with it. So we decided to do a hardship version of that. It cost $250, $300. So you are getting like a 70-75% discount on what the class should be. Mostly so we can pay fees and take care of things, right? And so we offered that, and we have probably trained another, in 2021, maybe it was about 300 people that came through those classes, right? Because I pair them up, do CSM, CSPO, kind of back-to-back-ish, right? And we was able to take care of that, and again, do similar things for a lot of people, right? I've had some people that was in the hardship classes, not the Black Lives Matter classes, because we call them two different things, the Black Lives Matter class, and then we had the actual hardship classes. And, a lot of people found, opportunities outside of that, and it was people who really had some type of hardship, right? And so it didn't matter what your color was, anything like that. If you had a hardship, boom, you're in. And sometimes we had to deal with that because some people want to just try to just get into class because it's cheaper when we're really trying to find ways to ratchet it up and give back so then people can find ways or find a path within, this industry in some way. So the thought process I had was to really have a conversation about this because a lot of times we don't give back. A lot of times we don't do anything. A lot of times I do stuff and I don't talk about it at all because I prefer dealing with high school students, young adults, right, that are trying to figure out their path and move in a direction. But, I know we're underrepresented in terms of IT, in terms of Scrum, all this kind of stuff. So I try to solve certain problems. But the idea is that I put in time asking for nothing in return. Asking for zero in return. Because it's just the right thing to do. It's just the right thing to do. I wish I had the opportunity. Well, I don't wish that because I'm the first certified Scrum trainer. I'm the first black one, right? So there was nobody before me, so I had to take the first step, right? And I prefer taking that first step because I've been around the game for a little bit of time. So, we should all be finding ways to give back. I asked Scrum Alliance at the last Scrum gathering that we had prior to COVID, when we go to a city and we're doing a Scrum gathering, we should have an impact on the community in some kind of way and leave our mark there so they know these people with this associated with Scrum have done something. A lot of times kids see you when you giving back and they that gets etched in their mind and they kind of want to do something moving forward. There's a lot of things that happened for me growing up in poverty that I seen, right, that I can remember where people found ways to kind of give to us without asking for anything in return. So when we're talking about paying it forward, we're talking about just that, okay? And that's really all I wanted to talk about. Nothing really more than that, right? So I'd love to hear about some of your experiences of you paying it forward, especially in this environment, okay? And I have a guest that is waiting online, and I had a guest that's going to join us, and we'll talk about his story and what's happened, and then we'll just kind of go from there. So we'll jump into this, and then after that, we'll open up for any questions. You all know the deal. I'm going to, as I'm talking to him, I'm going to make sure I drop the link in the chat. I haven't changed the link in a long time, so I'm gonna drop the link in the chats on both LinkedIn and YouTube because that's where we're live at. So and then you all can have the opportunity to call in and talk, or nobody may have any questions tonight. We'll see, but we're gonna talk about this topic. So I have a guest here, and I'm gonna go ahead and pull this guest in with us. Let me go ahead and start doing that right now as we speak. So and then you should be able to hear me, Christian,
Hey, how you doing?
and I can hear you as well. Now, Christian, I'm gonna say this to you, man. I'm gonna say this to you. You're gonna have to go get you a camera,
Man, it's not my camera. I got a great camera. I don't know what's going on, man. I
man.
promise you.
That's okay. It's
I
okay.
promise you,
I
man.
can hear you just fine. So do me a favor, introduce yourself to the audience here, and then what I want you to do is tell us about the connection between you and me, and then after you completed your journey with us, what happened after that. So introduce
Yes,
yourself, please,
sir.
Christian.
My name is Christian. I am a certified Scrum Master, and becoming a Scrum Master changed a big part of my life concerning my finances. So, um, there's many Scrum Masters who are doing the job, but they're not certified,
Mm-hmm.
and that can really limit their pay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where Bearded Eagle came in, and there's an amazing story to tell you behind that.
Okay. So
So,
go ahead.
so essentially, I didn't have the money to get my CSM at the time, and just a little background about me. I'm a YouTube preacher, so anytime I have an impediment in life, I go to the Bible for a solution, right? So, just really quick in summary, just this is an amazing story. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 2 through 4 talks about writing the vision and making it plain.
Mm-hmm.
So, I got a notebook and I started just writing in the present tense,
Mm-hmm.
claiming everything I needed concerning my Scrum career
Okay.
as if I already had it. In about 2 weeks, Super Coach Victor contacted me, and he told me about Bearded Eagle providing the free CSM certifications. So I applied, and then I made a pledge that once my situation got to the point where I could have access, I would pay it forward, so that I could help others get the same opportunity that Bearded Eagle afforded me.
Mm-hmm. Now, here's the reason why. Here's the reason Christian knows on this show. I'm gonna be real serious with you, right? So, and I need to tip my hat to him for a second here. We have had a slew of people, probably 500, have access to something like that. Not necessarily a free class all the way, but a huge discount, right? And we don't do it too often because otherwise we'd killed our classes and we'd have no company at the end of the day. But here's the deal. Christian sent us a note back in 2020. And in that note, he pledged to donate some money so and then someone else can have the opportunity to actually come to a future class, a future hardship class, or whatever it is. Now, he made that pledge back in 2020. And last week reached out to me and reminded me of that pledge. Because realistically, we're not asking anybody, we're not saying to anybody, hey, once you get a job, come pay us. No, that's not what paying it forward is about, right? We're not even saying to people, hey, you know what, when you get your certification, just send a bunch of people our way. No, we don't do any of that, right? And that's not to toot our horn, it's just to be an example. And so when Christian reached out to me and said, you know what, I'm ready to honor my pledge. Let me explain something to you all, how emotional that makes me. In the past 5 years, 5 years, okay, I've had 3 people do that. Now, understand what I just said to you. You heard what I said to you just a minute ago, right? I said we have likely done something paying it forward ish to 500 people. And I have three that have come back to us to try to help somebody else in the future through us in any kind of way, right? And again, not that we're asking for any money. We're not. This is not about that, right? Now, I know some of these people are actually finding things to do in other ways to pay it forward, but understand the amount of respect that I have for Christian coming back to honor the word that he made, and we did not ask him for that. We didn't ask him to make a pledge. We didn't ask him to even come back, because anytime somebody says they're going to do anything, they never come back. Do you understand where I'm coming from? So it's nothing but respect to you, Christian, for being a man of your word, and coming back to attempt to help someone in the future. And we'll figure out ultimately how we go about doing that. But at the end of the day, you are paying it back. You're paying it forward at this point, right? And so you've been on an interesting journey. Here's my question for you. When you receive that certification, okay? We know that it takes experience and all this combination of stuff, right? But tell us about the things that you went through to find your opportunity. Because it just didn't land in your
Well,
lap, right?
right. So there's a lot that goes into finding a job as a Scrum Master. In my um, experience and as what I see, you definitely are going to need a good resume. You're going to have to know and be able to speak to that resume. You're also going to have to be able to interview properly using Scrum vocabulary and understanding Scrum practices. And then also for me, there are some biblical principles that you need to put in place as well. But if I could give anything to the audience, I tell people this all the time when they come to me um, on LinkedIn or any other platform and ask what they need to do a job. I ask them, "Are you doing 100 easy applies a day? Meaning, are you actually applying?" People have so many answers other than yes. So they want to apply 2 or 3 times and then all of a sudden get a job. So there are some people who really are applying, but a lot of people are not putting in the applications necessary. I know one lady, I've helped about 11 people, and this is really a testament to you and Bearded Eagle. I've helped, and let me rephrase that, because some people have gotten multiple offers. I've helped people get 11 offers for some jobs. And one lady, she actually applied thousands of times. So literally, she said, I've applied thousands of times to get this job. Where so when I normally ask someone, have you applied to 100? You apply to 100 a day. They haven't applied to 100. Period. So we're talking about a Scrum job that I would say, quote unquote, the minimum wage of a Scrum job is about $100,000, maybe 90,000. But most people can get a Scrum job around 110, 120. I helped a different lady. She got 100 and about 100, approximately 150, a little bit over that. And then as far as making friends with recruiters, which is what I do, a recruiter contacted me and was wanting to place someone for $190,000 Scrum job. I passed that on to some of my mentees. But the point is, you've got to actually really want this. And I know I'm jumping everywhere but around, but again, this is a testament to Bearded Eagle, because I was able to get this certification, and it took my career to a higher level. I was able to take what I've learned and help other people as well. So if we continue to pay it forward in any way possible, It may just be making an introduction to somebody, maybe being nice to someone. Um, we can make a big difference.
So here's a
One more
question.
thing I
Go
will
ahead.
say.
Go ahead with
Oh,
that.
go ahead. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead with your one more thing.
I was, I was just gonna say, you said you've helped so many people, and hardly anybody comes back. So I kind of feel the same way, and it kind of hit me like, to me this is like part of my ministry,
Mm-hmm.
and I've helped so many people in so many ways. These people don't pay tithes, they don't pay offerings, no donations,
Mm-hmm.
not once, let alone regularly. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what something that I want to do different. I want to be grateful and to Bearded Eagle, as well as make, because I know that you're helping people, so I want to help people as well. So I had to sit back and think, okay, so people are not being grateful to me. Who am I? Who have I not been grateful to?
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you. So here's a question. So tell us something. Tell us. Give me a day in the life of a Scrum Master that's actually on the ground right now, being a Scrum Master. What's a day in the life for you?
So, when I wake up in the morning, okay, I either take a look at the Agile Manifesto, or I take a look at the Scrum Guide. I normally jump on a morning call if I can. This is before work again, right? Just building my skills. I There's a Scrum colleague of mine. Her name is Ajane, and she, helps people prepare for the interview. So even though I'm not interviewing, I still want to keep my skills sharp, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then when I actually log in for work, because we're working remotely, right? I check my emails, and then I look over my day, and then I actually go into each one of my daily stand-ups that are scheduled on my calendar.
Mm-hmm.
I look for any inconsistencies, any impediments that I might see, and see if there's any developer that is not keeping up to pace, right? So after that, of course, we go through our stand up. Then once we get to the parking lot, I check with my stakeholders. And then for what I found from that, and any other work that I might have for the day, I use that time to try to solve those problems. I
Mm-hmm.
use that time to reach out separately to my stakeholders to double check that they're happy, reach out to my internal business customers.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on the day, that could be it. There could be further follow up things I need to do from those conversations. So, in my opinion
Mm-hmm.
and in my experience, being a Scrum Master is making sure the problem doesn't happen to begin with.
Yeah.
If I can stop the problem from happening,
Mm-hmm.
then I don't have to fix a problem.
Yep.
And a lot of, at least at my place of business, we do have all of our metrics, but the management really cares about, is the business side happy
Mm-hmm.
with the IT side work. So as
Mm-hmm.
long as I can manage those relationships, I can resolve a conflict before the conflict ever begins.
Okay. Okay. I like that. I like that. I like that. I like that because that gives people an idea of kind of day in the life right now. Not when you're physically in the office, but right now. Because when you are going and you are dealing with those discrepancies that the team is having versus everyone else, it could take you any place. Like you may have a developer that's not able to get in touch with a particular stakeholder, and they really need a particular thing answered because it's impacting their ability to write something or code something or whatever it is, right? Or you might have an issue with a product owner that just hasn't been available, right? It's just that literally your day isn't the same every day, right? It's always a little bit different, right?
I definitely agree, and I really honestly look at it as being a diplomat, right? You are trying to make sure that different factions don't have any type of serious confrontations. That's how I feel about it. We want to make sure that the business side is able to get the story completed the way they wanted it to be completed, according to the definition of done, that we were meeting all user acceptance criteria, things of that nature. And it's really about personality. It's really about being a person, treating people with respect. That's one of our values, right?
It is,
Being
no doubt.
open. Um, if we just follow the Scrum values,
Hmm.
it takes care of most of our job. It's just like being a kind person, to be
Hmm.
honest with you.
You can't get by it. Somehow you went out.
No, I can hear you.
Okay,
Can you
no,
hear
you
me?
can. Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'm just making sure. I'm over here looking at you on LinkedIn instead of where I'm supposed to be. So, here's here's another question, right? Here's another question. What's your goal? What's your goal? Um, a year from now, what goal do you have?
Man,
Marriages.
that's big. That's big. Well, in the Scrum arena, I just want to really help people get into the industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's things that we need to do to make a transition. There's a lot of teachers who are trying to transition into Scrum. There's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people who are in other careers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's important to me. And really, my YouTube ministry is about prosperity and one of the well, prosperity and healing.
Mm-hmm.
But Scrum is an excellent way for people to catapult their income while they're solving problems. So they are being they have a purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're being rewarded for it. So that is big to me. I mean, and honestly, just really solving problems. And to me, being a scrum master, daily we solve problems. And then also, once I actually get able to help people get jobs, I've solved their financial problems.
Mm-hmm.
So, solving problems is really my goal. I mean, and Scrum is just one of the ways that I do that. So I'm really big on having multiple streams of income. And I don't personally, but I know several Scrum masters who have multiple Scrum jobs, right? So it can fix a lot of problems pretty quickly.
Okay. All right. So this is all the questions I have for you, Christian. I
Okay.
appreciate you being a man of your word, literally, and coming back. We, again, as I told you earlier today, we don't ask for that kind of stuff. It's just I just have such an appreciation because out of 500 people, only 3 have come back to try to give back in some kind of way. And it don't have to be financial; it could be time, right? Because some people just need somebody to talk to, right? So I'm gonna say to you, man, I am so proud of you. I'm so proud that you was able to take this and turn it into something. You was a part of the Black Lives Matter class, right?
That's
For the
correct. Yes,
2020
sir.
version of class, yeah. So it's good to see that there was some people that was in that class that took advantage of that and moved forward, right? Because we don't always get to see what the actual results are. So I do appreciate you. I appreciate you also taking time to come on, my friend. I appreciate you sending me that email, and we will talk later this week. I will send you an email or connect with you later this week, and we'll figure all the other details out. But I really appreciate you coming and joining me today, and appreciate you following up.
Hey, thanks for having me. And one of the goals of my ministry, How to Be Healed TV, is going to be to support what you're doing in some type of scholarship fund, or as long some way we can help people get these certifications as long as we're able to do so.
Yeah, and
So
and, and
thank
I may have to
you.
and I may have to create some real criteria around the scholarship, man.
Yeah, yeah. And hey, I will say this,
Yeah.
and I've got to be honest. So I
Okay.
did get the CSM, right?
Mhm.
But I did not take advantage of the CSPO until later. So I did come back to Bearded
Yeah.
Eagle and get it later.
Yeah.
So I want to tell people this certification is life changing. Like your money is going to, go up exponentially just by taking this course. And I guess we can't guarantee that, but it puts you in the lane for that to be able to happen. And it's
Mhm.
happened to so many people I know. Is one of the things that you need to get into this industry. So I definitely recommend Bearded Eagle. There's a lot of things that Bearded Eagle does uh, that other I guess, training classes do not give you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
keep
well,
that
I
in mind
appreciate
as
that.
well.
I appreciate that. And hopefully I'm doing a good enough job. Okay, Christian, look, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming on. You need anything, reach out to me, and I'll be in touch with you later on this week, okay?
All right. Yes, sir. Have a great one.
Thank you. You have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Okay, everyone. That was amazing. It is always great to have folks that was in a past class join us. And again, uh, you know, I'm Bearded Eagle all day. I don't really train for anybody else. And you know, we always say come to the Bearded Eagle class, but if you can't come to the Bearded Eagle class, okay, I get it. There's other trainers out there. Welcome, Shelly. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am going to drop something in the chat. What I'm going to drop in the chat is going to be a link. That link is to the same place where we just saw Christian, right? So I'm going to drop a link in the chat. If you want to join me on the show, you're welcome to do that. I'm going to drop it in both places, on LinkedIn and on YouTube. So it just will be the link and that's it, okay? If you have any questions, you can drop those in the chat as well, because I take them from the chat and I take them from people who call in. So literally join us if you have the opportunity. So hey Jermaine, hey Shelly, as usual, hey Patrick. I already have a question coming from Jermaine right here. What are the pros and cons of getting a CSM versus CSPO? Well, let me allow you to come up with the pros and cons. I'll tell you the difference between the two. And then we can talk a little bit more. Certified Scrum Master and Certified Scrum Product Owner. Two very different classes. Both classes are supposed to cover Scrum foundations. Okay? Starting off with the CSM. The CSM has been around. It was the first of the Agile certifications. It's the pretty much the one that is the grandfather of them all. The thing about the CSM is that it doesn't focus entirely on the Scrum Master, because you're really there to learn Scrum more than anything else. Okay? So it's more of a generalist class, and you'll get some Scrum Master stuff in there. The product owner takes another tactic, because you do get to learn about Scrum foundations, but we do a deep dive into the product owner role. You know, going from strategy, vision, roadmap, then tactical things like release stuff, product management, release management, user stories, things of that nature. So it's like CSPO is really role specific, while CSM is more generalist, because you got to know the entirety of Scrum as a Scrum Master. The advantage is there's no advantage, because they serve different purposes, right? There's not one pro or con or over the other one. The reason why I say that is because you can have them both. There's nothing that prevents you from having them both, right? And I didn't get my CSPO for a few years after my Scrum Master, because I wasn't working with product owners, and I wasn't a product owner. So I didn't have no dream of being a product owner. So if you're trying to work with product stuff, you got domain knowledge, you're going to be working more with the business or with the people that's coming up with the requirements, product owner is a good place to be. But if you're doing the Scrum stuff and you are helping the team move forward, your focus is really getting people together with Scrum, then Scrum Master might be a better focus. But even as Scrum Master, you need to work with the product owner. So I recommend a lot of Scrum Masters go get the product owner certification when they start working closer with product owners. So Jermaine, there's no really disadvantage of having one or the other. If I had to pick one to have, I'd probably start off with the Scrum Master, because it's likely more jobs related to Scrum Master than there'll be with the product owner. If I was a domain knowledge, working with the business kind of person, and that's why I plan to work, then I'm going product owner all day, if I'm a business analyst or something like that. So it really is up to you on what you decide to do, but there is no pros and cons between them both, because it's not an either or. You can actually do both, okay? So good question, good question. I already have someone that could be joining us here as well. So I'm going to go hit the lines here and bring them on and allow them to ask the question that they may have. Hello, how you doing, G? Can you
Hi,
hear me?
Grace. Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. I can hear you just fine. How are you tonight?
I am doing well. I'm doing well. I know we last connected on the Agile for Humanity conference.
Yes.
So I just want to mention that
Mm-hmm.
I was able to pay it forward by mentioning you on the Women in Agile conference
Thank you.
about your service, because I think that we should definitely promote what you're doing more deliberately. I know it's a very altruistic endeavor. So I would encourage the other persons who are watching, if you're in a conference or anything where you have a speaking engagement,
Mm-hmm.
mention this program, especially since there is a focus on uplifting minorities. It was a big part of my presentation to talk about the underrepresentation of minorities in the
Mm-hmm.
space of agility,
Yeah.
and the fact that it's not really spoken about on a regular basis. When you think about agility, there are tons of talks about value stream analysis,
Mm-hmm.
about how to effectively coach and resolve conflict, all the typical topics,
Yeah.
and they just are recycled. Good topics, but we're not talking enough about the lack of representation.
The
And
real
so,
issues.
yeah, right. Because I mean, if you're not getting the bang from the team because there's unconscious bias there,
Mm-hmm.
then it's going to make it more difficult for you to coach, right? They
Now
go
hold on,
hand in
hold on.
hand.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I'm gonna put you on the spot now. I'm gonna put you on the spot, right? Because you giving presentations, you teaching people all about this stuff. Can you give us one or two issues that you see in our community related to obviously diversity, equity, and inclusion? And then can you provide us with one or two ways that people can think about this to try to at least take some action to resolve?
Oh, definitely. Well, I'll answer the second question first. Talk
Okay.
about it.
All
Don't
right.
sweep it under the rug and be very transparent. Yeah, I'm from Jamaica. There's different cultural implications there. I by no means I'm speaking on behalf of everybody from Jamaica, but I do believe that we're very straightforward. At least a lot of people I know, and so I just go head on. Do you have a problem hearing what I'm saying or
Mm-hmm.
receiving my message? The problem in the community is there are certain persons who represent a profile that come across as more credible just
Mm-hmm.
because of the socialization, and it happens from even childhood. It's
Mm-hmm.
brainwashing basically. And so I was in a situation as a scrum master at a company in New Jersey several years ago,
Mm-hmm.
where whenever I would say something, there was resistance. And then when I brought in the VP who I reported to even just stand and observe a daily scrum, there was no problem hearing the message, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'd say stand up because it's called a stand up, so that we go speed pre-COVID, obviously, before everything went remotely.
Mm-hmm.
And there was like a developer would sit and swivel around in his chair and say, I don't have to stand up. But when the VP showed up, he'd stand up.
Yeah.
Another lady, every day she brought articles saying agile is dead. I just read it on Google, you know. But then when I talked to the VP about the importance of Scrum and realigning all the issues,
Mm-hmm.
getting Kanban in play, figuring out technical debt from new projects and all of that, and he restated what I was saying, they'd be like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. So we'd have faster throughput, less
Mm-hmm.
defects. And I'm like, where have I heard this before?
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
or the very common, oh, what Grace is trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I just said it, English is my native language, and I don't believe there was any miscommunication. So the tactics are really presenting things like, hey, have we had unconscious bias training for everybody, not just people leaders, not just persons who have direct reports, but everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we should go offsite and get different persons to talk about it. Take
Mm-hmm.
it away from the scrum master as the only change agent and messenger,
Mm-hmm.
and have other persons, because sometimes individuals, right, wrong, or indifferent, need to hear it from other people. And sometimes it might even be diversity of thought, because you have the FTE
Mm-hmm.
versus consultant mentality.
Mm-hmm.
When you're a full-time employee working with your colleagues, they don't hear you, but then somebody comes in from a consulting firm charging $300-400 an hour, and I have been a consultant as well,
Yeah.
right? So I know both sides of the table. then they're all ears because they're like, oh, we're paying for this, so they must have lots of wisdom. But there is a problem with diversity, and then even within our community, there's that. I don't know what a more politically correct term for it is, but kind of that crabs in a barrel mentality where it's like you can be the only one.
Yeah.
So I'm already here in this space,
Yeah.
and you can't come because then I didn't make it that far, to
Yeah.
just have you come knock me off.
We call it
And I'm
crabs in a
like,
barrel.
yeah, crabs in a barrel,
Yeah.
and there can be only one, the shining token, and I'm just like not up for that. And then you have the cultural differences, which I even mentioned in my talk, where you have people from the diaspora and people who are born and raised here, and it's like I already was part of the struggle. I was born into the struggle. You came here from the islands or whatever, and you want to take advantage. So you have all these different layers, and then let's not forget the gender issue.
Yeah.
Right, there are a lot more men in agility than women. So when you have somebody like me, and I have my hair back in a ponytail, but sometimes I had the fro, so you have the how you show up, the gender, the accent, the race, maybe even my height. I don't know. I'm not that tall, 5'5", because taller people get more respect, right? That's a statistically proven fact. Taller men make more money. You have all of this noise. And so when you want to coach somebody on how to do a demo effectively or how to respect people in a retrospective, then they don't want to hear. But you just have to keep fighting the good fight. I'm still in the space. I'm keeping it on.
I'm
Keep on
glad you're
keeping
fighting
on.
a good fight. I like that you're fighting a good fight. And you said something that's really important, and it probably went over some people's heads. And I want to mention this part again because we all know about the gender thing. We know about the underrepresentation of minorities, indigenous people, and just all kinds of isms that exist, right? But you said something that I rarely hear people say that I really enjoyed hearing, and that is diversity of thought. Diversity of thought. And for those who didn't hear that, I want to mention it again because, we can look and be from the same cultures, even be the same gender, and still lack diversity when it comes of thought. And so, Grace, I appreciate you joining. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you giving the kind words about Bearded Eagle and about me. I know you're fighting a good fight. If you need something from me, you know how to reach me. Reach out to me. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And people, once again, she said something amazing. Diversity of thought. We always hear about unconscious bias, all this training, all this stuff. We hear about all this stuff. But I rarely hear diversity of thought. So I love that. Thank you, G.
All right.
Bye-bye. That was amazing. I just enjoyed that. If you just put that word there, I just enjoyed that so much, right? Because I didn't have to say it, right? You got other people that's seeing it, right? It exists, right? I remember back in the day when I went to my first Scrum gathering. It was the first or the second one, I don't know. The first or second Scrum gathering ever. I was at that one, right? It was in Boulder, Colorado is where it's at. It was like 40-something people there. There maybe have been five white ladies, and then I was the only black guy, and the rest of them was white guys. That's it, some of them was from around the world, which is actually pretty cool and decent because I met people from all around the world like that. And so it was really, really interesting, right? It was really, really interesting. And I met some really, really amazing people I got good relationships with, and those relationships started way back then, right? That's when I first met Mike Cohn and stuff like that. So it was just amazing. Tobias Myers, Lisa Atkins, I met them at that first Scrum gathering that I went to. So it's like all these people, these big names I met them, that I look up and say, oh, you are special. So anyway, I see Jermaine. Jermaine, I'm glad you attended the actual Brandon Land. That's my guy, John Signo. He does an amazing job. That was 5 hours, man. He really goes for 5 hours. Like, he goes 5 hours, like 5 hours. And it's like full of info, right? So anyway, that Brandon Land is pretty amazing. So anybody that wants to join that, John Signo, he's pretty much out of the PMI Dallas chapter. He's doing it across all kinds of PMI chapters. You don't have to be a member of the PMI to actually go. It was $35 when I last that I checked. It could be a little bit more than that. It should be more than that. because it's definitely worth way more than that. So that being said, anybody with any other questions, drop it in the chat. Any one of the chats, right? I got 2 chats that we got there. So drop it in the chat, or you can join the show. And again, we dropped the link there. So yeah, so it's just and again, Jermaine, I see the self-hate thing. You're right. There is a lot of self-hate that happens between, between us as individuals, but then there's all kinds of other kinds of hate that happen. And it's unfortunate to see. And in particular, when I was doing in-person classes, especially super early on, at the end of my classes, I would actually give a plea. Literally, at the end of my class, I give a plea. I would say to people, look at the representation in this room. The Agile community doesn't look like this. It's not for me to change. It's for you to change. You understand where I'm coming from? So I would be I'd be in India, for example. And I'd have 100 people in a class in India, right? And I'm like, there's not an Indian, there's nobody from India, or there's maybe one person from India that's over in America, or 2 people in India, that is over in America that is, a certified Scrum trainer. So when I would go and I do those classes, at the end of every single class, I give a big speech about how representation wasn't appropriate. It didn't represent the world, and to change it, right? And I think now there's at least 5 or 6 Indian certified Scrum trainers, right? So it's nice to see those changes happen over time. And my philosophy is this, India is a big place. I don't speak all the different languages over there, and some of them would be an easier thing to work closer with people that are from there, right? So the idea is, I think that there should always be more diversity in everything, and diversity of thought is one of those kind of things that people, is hidden under everything else. Okay, but it ain't nothing but a good thing. I just love it, and I always think about it. I appreciate it, and my journey was it still is interesting. We've always had some super interesting things happen in terms of this as a whole. But our topic was paying it forward, and hopefully you all are finding ways to pay it forward. And it doesn't have to be anything really big. It doesn't have to be anything huge. It doesn't have to be anything that you gotta advertise to anybody. You just want it to be something where you're having an impact. Sometimes it's words that can have an impact on people. Just use those words to encourage people to kind of move forward. As Jermaine says here, you got to be brave enough to have difficult conversations. Again, when we talk about that diversity, you do have to be brave enough to have difficult conversations. Sometimes difficult confrontations, right? Sometimes difficult confrontations, because it can get a little testy when people start getting emotional. Even inside the workplaces, which is really interesting, because I've had some interesting passive aggressive things happen, but nothing ever physical happen inside the work environment. So that's a good thing. That's a plus. Nothing but pluses. So on that note, I don't see any additional questions. I don't stay here if you don't have any questions. So we will start to wrap things up. What I will say to you, though, it is always a pleasure to be here on this show. We will be here next week, same time. I got a full day next Monday, so I got double classes, CSM and CSPO, half days happening. So I look forward to seeing you all next week. Make sure you come with your questions. Other than that, have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your evening. I will see you on an Agile journey. Everybody, peace as usual. I'll see you soon.